Okay, if you've got a marathon this autumn, whether it's Berlin, Chicago, Amsterdam, or New York, then right now you're between 14 and 20 weeks away. That's it. That's your entire build. But most runners are about to waste those weeks. Not because they don't work hard, they do. They're gonna grind out the miles. But they'll just be guessing. Guessing at the sessions, the paces, progressions, and every guess run either gives you a fraction of the improvement that it should, or quietly digs you in a hole that you're going to pay for in 6 weeks. This is one of the main causes, if not the main cause, of creating that uncertainty on the start line where you're hoping for a good day, you're hoping for a good result. It doesn't have to go like that. If you get these weeks right, you can arrive on that start line fitter and more specifically prepared to be confident on that start line and run a time that you currently think is not achievable. So if you're feeling behind, here's exactly how I do it. Okay, so we've only got so many runs, we've only got so many sessions between now and our marathon. If that's Berlin and we're calling it 14 weeks, then depending on whether you're running 4 times a week or 6 times a week, that's between 56 and 84, if I've got the maths right, opportunities to move forward. And imagine if that moving forward is being compounded because you're improving gradually week on week. If you're running New York, 20 weeks, easier maths, between 80 and 120 opportunities to move forward. We can also break it down into minutes and you get much higher figures. But the point is, you're already putting the time, energy, and effort, and maybe you'll call it sacrifice, in order to build towards this date that is already set. Everything's already booked for you to run this race. If you're guessing and you're going out there and doing a 60-minute session, you might be getting 20 minutes of benefit from that 60-minute run. But worse, you might be pushing too hard because the date is getting closer and closer. You might be digging yourself a hole, which creates a setback, which physically, physiologically, and most important, mentally, is a terrible place to be 6 to 8 weeks out from your marathon. But the point is, you've got a full-time job, you've got family, you've got loads of other things going on in your life. So for me, you cannot afford to waste a single minute doing something that is not moving you forward optimally from where you're at the moment, so reducing that injury risk, to where we really want to be, and it's always a moving target when you race. My honest belief is, if you're going to do something, and be selective on what you're going to do, and you've selected a marathon, but if you're going to do something, do it to the very best of your ability. Amongst many other things, that is what the marathon teaches you. And either way, that is what the marathon will give you back. If you've not prepared, you'll get found out. So how does anybody get good at anything? Well, first of all, they care. They deeply care about what they do. And they show up relentlessly. Not just being physically there, but they actually show up. And then they do it long enough and constantly analyze what they're doing, what's working, what's not, where are their gaps, and then they become a specialist and then an expert in any field. I grew up in Manchester in the early 2000s, and around 2004, Polish people started coming to the UK. And Brits are terrible, like, oh no, the Pakistanis, oh no, it's the Indians. Our national dish is chicken tikka masala. And then it's the Romanians, and then, oh no, the Poles now. And there's great comedy skits where comedians are making fun of that village Brit who's just angry about anything, and especially change. But what the Poles did, and I remember this so well, is they were prepared to work for less, and very quickly they had a reputation for doing a much better job, for having a much better work ethic. And so this is now more than 20 years ago. And recently I was able to speak to a really senior Polish guy who came in those years and now a CEO of a company, and he's training for a marathon. And I got to ask him, I said, hey, I remember when I was a kid, Polish people came to the UK for the first time. You had this incredible work ethic. I could see it on the football field with their football team too. They shouldn't be as good as they are. But now, I said, it's gone full circle, and you've been here 20, 22 years, and those Polish people that came over as laborers and unskilled workers are now directors and CEOs like you of businesses. And I asked him, what's the difference between the work culture in Poland and the work culture in Britain? And he told me, he said it's kind of changed now, generations, etc. But in short, a Polish guy goes to work and does the best job he possibly can, and as a byproduct, he gets paid. Whereas a Brit, and I'm generalizing, don't get shirty, a Brit goes to work to get paid, and as a byproduct, the work gets done. And I think that is brilliant and also true. Marathon running cures you of that, by the way. The people who get good at something, a job or marathon running, show up and do the best possible job they can relentlessly. And the reward or the result is a byproduct of becoming incredible at training. You can see it around you. The ones, and it's 80% of people, the ones who are showing up for the reward are just going through the motions. And in 40 years, they'll still be there going through the motions. You can spot it a mile away. If you've ever walked in an office, you can tell by the speed and purpose that somebody walks to the water cooler how far they're gonna get in that job. Running solves all this for you. It injects the work ethic, the discipline, the tenacity, the delayed gratification, and the positivity, because you're gonna get knocked back a few times before it happens. And the resourcefulness and initiative. How can we make the best of this situation right now? And what the training will do is all of that good stuff will stop being something that you do and it becomes who you are. So here's what I'd do. I would learn how to train properly. I would learn how to get everything I possibly could, how to optimize every single minute that I was going to be spending working towards my goal. Not follow a plan from a book, and I've got 50 of them here, most with a great training plan, but for everyone, not specifically for you. So when I say learn how to train properly, it's learn how to train properly for you as an individual to make the most possible progress safely from where you are at the moment to where you want to get to, and again, it's a moving target. We don't know what you're going to be capable of if you're coming from suboptimal training, which is 99% of people, to optimal training, to breaking everything down, doing exactly what you need to do to get the optimal result. So learn how to gradually build exactly the right sessions for you. Learn how to load the progressions to peak, very difficult to do, and few runners ever learn how to do it, but to peak in time, then to deload, taper and freshen up to get the most out of your body and your training on race day. And at least equally as important, how to pace a marathon. Again, very few people, just look at any marathon results, very few marathon runners or very few people learn how to pace a marathon. Imagine if you're guessing at all of those different things. It's just blind hope that it creates that, oh, geez, this is a marathon, I'm scared to death. On the start line, you've booked the flights, you've booked the hotel, you've booked the race, the family are going, you want to put on a good display, you want to run your fastest time ever. There is a lot you can do in 10 weeks. If you've got 14 weeks, it's a luxury. And at Berlin last year, just as an example, 27 degrees Celsius, 80 Fahrenheit on the finish line. Look at how many people paced that race well. Imagine if the conditions are suboptimal and you need to adjust. If you're guessing, how is that going to work? I tell you how it usually works. Let's hope we can hold on. But it's probably the best thing that can happen to you, because you'll have about 10 miles to have discussions with yourself, to have deep internal conversations that I'm never doing this again, meaning I'm never going to mess it up again. I'm going to get this right and do it properly. If I wanted to learn how to play the piano, and I do, as soon as I've got the time to learn the piano, I'll get a teacher. If I wanted to learn Russian, and I do, I could download an app like Duolingo, and in 5 to 10 years, I might be able to have a conversation where not only I can say something, but I also can understand the answer. But if I didn't want to wait 10 years and I wanted to be able to speak Russian and play the piano as fast as I possibly could, as well as I possibly could, I would get a teacher and hire somebody that not only can play the piano and speak Russian, but has a track record of being able to get you to play the piano or learn the language as fast as you possibly can competently. Why would it be any different with running? And for most people, it's priority 3 to 5. Family, children often come first, and then maybe career, and then it's often running. So why not learn to do it not only properly, but optimally specifically for you. Once you've learned how to prepare for a marathon, it's there forever. You've got it. You've acquired that skill. The runners that I coach come to me with a goal in mind. And it's often conservative because it's based on how they feel in training and racing so far. Like, I've just finished a 5K. It was a 10 out of 10. I couldn't have put any more effort in. But then they move across to exactly the right training that they need to do to get the absolute most out of their valuable time. That they learn how to train. And so a good example recently is 4 hours 12 for the marathon. And within 22 weeks, he moves to 3 hours 16. And he's learned how to train for a marathon, how to prepare specifically for a marathon. But now the goal has completely changed. A dream time for him was 3 hours 30. Sub 3 hours 30 one day. Now the goal is, he almost said 2 hours 45, but he's just removed that target and let's get as fast as we possibly can. And so it's a new mission. What brought you from 4 hours 30 to 3 hours 16 is not going to take you to 2:45. So if you're going to do this, if you're going to put all this time, you already are, put all this time, energy and effort into marathon running, which is the most beautiful sport. The World Cup's on at the moment, and running is the most beautiful sport for you as an individual that there can possibly be. It's the closest mirror to life, and it's building character all the time. But if you're going to do it properly. And I'd highly recommend you get a coach. It doesn't need to be me, but once you've learned, once you've got that skill, it will always be with you. You got to stay fit, but it will always be with you. The wisest people, from what I've read, are old people, really old people on their deathbed, who are talking about what they regret not doing more of and what they regret doing too much of. But what they'll all tell you is it's over in the blink of an eye. That's the universe. We're there for a tiny amount of time. And it's my belief that most people are going through the motions. They're living like they've got multiple lives. You've got to attack life. And I think Steve McQueen said this. You've got to attack life because it's going to kill you. This is not a dress rehearsal. Get it done, and get it done to the very best of your ability. You're going to make mistakes. Embrace them, learn from them, move forward, and move forward stronger and smarter.